Welcome back. We'll try to discuss the introduction to Kali and the Backtrak Linux tools. How these operating systems are going to be used in our penetration testing lab. So, in introduction to Kali, if we talk about Kali, Kali Linux is an open source Debian based Linux distribution geared towards various information security tasks such as your penetration testing and your having the security research and the computer forensics reverse engineering process. So you can get more details using the about this Kali Linux by following this link that the www.kali.org. So in Kali Linux, the most important thing which we should know is we just find out. Let me just add it from that. Uh, yeah, let me share this. Okay. So in this, uh, yeah. So the first one is the advanced package tool. We say the APT. So advanced package tool is a package management system that APT. Let me just open this. Okay. In this advanced package team, let me just close it. Some more options. Okay. Um, okay. In this advanced package team, if you look into the terminal, there we say that APT. Let me magnifies it. Okay, to see. Okay, one is the uh, called APT is one. So this APT allows you to quickly and easily install or update any of the. Okay, yeah. So this apt install, update, or remove the softwares from the command prompt line in the Kali Linux. So aside from its simplicity, one of the best things about this the advanced package tool is the fact that it automatically resolves dependency issues. So this means that if the package you are installing requires additional software, then the advanced package tool will automatically locate and install the additional software or Kani operating system. So how to install the software by using this APT means, for example, if you want to install a tool called the Parus, in this case, uh, okay, let me just share the screen of that. The Kali Linux part. Okay, yeah. So let me stop this one. So you will get the. Yeah. Yes. So suppose if you want to install the software tool like Paros, that is the this Paros is a proxy on your local Linux machine. So to install Paros, this Paros is a tool that can be used to evaluate the security of web applications. So once you know the name of the package, you want to install from the command line, you can just run this command that by just typing the command. Just let me just clear this screen. Okay, so here you just write apt advanced package, the package tool, and hyphen get, then give the space and type the install and the package name or the tool which we want to run on it. So this apt get install, which is followed by the name of the software you want to install. So it is always a good idea to run the apt get update before installing any software. So if you run this, then your operating system will get updated. So this will ensure that you are getting the latest version of the available. So to install the Paros, then once it get installed, the updated, then we can issue the command that apt get install. Okay, it's taking some time. Let me give you the command that, yeah, done. So the all the packages are the updated here. So reading the packages, so to install the Paros, then we can simply use the command that apt advanced package tool, and give the iPhone, sorry, it's, yeah, and mm, yeah, and simply you can type here apt get update, then install the Paros, the software name or which you wants to install. So that will try to install on your machine. So by reading this package, yeah, it's done. The building dependency trees are also done, and reading state information is also done. So Paros is already the newest version, that is 3.2, which is used. And it is going to be run either on Python 3. Okay, so the Python 3 libraries are also automatically installed and are no longer required to execute the Paros. So before the package is installed, you will be shown how much disk space will be used, and you will be asked if you want to continue sometimes. So to install your new software, you can type Y on your machine here, and simply hit sometimes if it asks you. So I already installed, so it is not asking me again. So when the program is done installing, then you will be prompted to the hash function, again going back to the root key here. Okay, so then at this point you can start Paros by just entering the Paros as a command in the command prompt, and by typing this, if you hit that, then it will run the Paros. So that the pick the Java command, and it will ask you for some for some what you call the agreement. So if you click on the selecting the agreement part, then it is going to run this the Paros command, right? Let me just close this session of Paros, and then if you go back and check it out, this apt requires you to know the exact name of the software you want to install before running the install command. So if you are unsure of the software name or how to spell it, you can use the apt cache search command. So that is, you may use this apt, and instead of get, you can use the, okay, let me just change it. Okay, you will get the the cache. Oof, oof. Mhm. Uh, the cache, apt cache, and the search command. So this handy function will display any packages or tools which match your search and provide a brief description of the tool also. So using this apt cache search will allow you to quickly narrow down the name of the package you are looking for. So for example, if we are unsure of the official name of Paro's package from our previous example, as we typed here the apt get install Paros here, uh, then we could have the first run that search uh, the Paros or search Paro and just click, because if you are unsure of that, then it is going to find you all the related one, which one that you need. So that the parole, the media player based gs streamer framework is there, parole is there, and you're finding the paros, which the software we wants to install as the web application proxy, right? So in this case, by just typing some name, if you are unable to pronounce this correctly, then you can get that details also. So after reviewing the resulting name, Paros, for what purpose Paros is using means it is for web application security or web application vulnerabilities or web application proxies. Okay, so you have so after reviewing the resulting names and description, we would then proceed with the apt get install command for this particular software. So it is unlike, similar to this, we have the another operating system which is also inbuilt, that we call the Kali Backtrack, or we say it as your Backtrack operating system. Let me quickly share the screen of that. The Backtrack operating system. So this, okay. So in this Backtrack operating system, let me just explore this. Okay. So in this operating system, that you will find that it is one most well known of the penetration testing distribution is one called the Backtrack. So in this, the the Backtrack Linux is your one-stop shop for learning hacking and performing penetration testing. So you can get Backtrack by using the Linux, that www.backtrack-linux.org downloads. From here you can download the Backtrack, and how it is going to work. The working with this Backtrack machine or your attack machine. So regardless of whether you choose to run the Kali Linux or Backtrack as either a virtual machine or live DVD, once the initial system is loaded, you will be presented with a login prompt. So the default username is root, and the default password is tour, the reverse of it for this Backtrack operating system. And notice the default password is simply root, that's spelled in backward. So this default username and password combination has been in use since Backtrack 1, and most likely it will remain in use for future version also. So if you are running the Backtrack, then you should be logged into the system and should be presented with the command prompt, that root at backtrack bt, and the approximation W prompt will be appears to you. So it is possible to run many of the tools from the terminal. It is often easier for newcomers to make use of the X Windows system. So that X Windows system is you can start the graphical user interface by just typing the following command, that the start X. If you write this start X at the prompt command, it will open the, after typing this command and hitting the enter key, you will get the this environment should give you the graphical user interface. So this environment should seem vaguely familiar to most computer users. So once it has completely loaded, you will see a desktop icons and taskbar or system trays on your desktop screen. So just like your Microsoft Windows, you can interact with these items by moving your mouse cursor and clicking on the desired objectives. So if you are utilizing Kali Linux, after logging in with the default root and tour username and password, you will be automatically loaded to the graphical user interface based genome desktop environment in the Kali Linux. So most of the programs we will use in this course will be run from the terminal only. So there are several ways to start the terminals, that you may use the Linux distribution. Use the keyboard shortcuts, that Control Alt T. Okay, so and unlike your Microsoft Windows or many of the modern day Linux operating systems, by default some versions of Backtrack Linux operating system do not come with networking enables. So this setup is by design only. So nothing screams like look at me, I'm here, but like a computer that starts up and instantly begins spiffing the network traffic by broadcasting the request for a dynamic host configuration protocols, the DHCP server, and the Internet Protocol addresses. So, to avoid this issue, the network interfaces of your Backtrack machine may be turned down by default, or you are off by default. So, in that case, what you need to the easiest way to enable this networking interface in this Backtrack Linux operating system is through the terminal. So you just need to open the terminal and you need to enter the command that ifconfig, and a switch must be given, that minus a switch should be given to it. So this command will list all the available interfaces for your machine, all the available interfaces. It may be wireless interface or wired interfaces. So at the minimum, most machines will include the Ethernet interfaces and a LO interface, the Ethernet interface and the LO interface. Ethernet interface is your Ethernet card is used to connect. That is RJ45 connectors are used to connect with your Ethernet interface. So the LO interface is your loop back interface. This LO interface is the loop back interface, whereas your ETH0 interface is your Ethernet interface. So the Ethernet interface or the Ethernet card. So if you are running a Backtrack through a virtual machine, your main interface will usually be the Ethernet 0 or ETH0 interface. It will be. So to turn this interface, to turn the network card, that the Ethernet card on, you enter the configuration, you enter the command in the command prompt line, that if configure and the Ethernet 0 to make it up, to make this up. So by issuing this command at the terminal, the In this case, the first one, the ipconfig, is a Linux command that means I want to configure a network interface. Ifconfig means, and whereas the ETH0 means, as we already know, this ETH0 is the first network device on our system, and the keyword up is used to activate the interface. So we can roughly translate the command you entered as I want to configure the first interface to be turned on. So now that the interface uh, is turned on, and we need to get an IP address for this Ethernet card. So there are two basic ways to complete this task. One is, our first option is to assign the address manually by appending the desired IP address to the end of the previous command, that IP configure ETS0 with up, and after that we need to give the configuration command. So generally that is given as the IP configure Ethernet up and the IP address of your machine to make that machine configure. So how to get this IP address means, in the terminal, if you simply type the ifconfig, you will get this IP address. So to make this up, you can issue this command, that ifconfig Ethernet up. When Ethernet 0 interface should be activated or should on, and the IP address which is assigned to it is 192.168.1.23. So now machine will have an IP address, but will still need a gateway and the domain name system, because your system should connect to the internet. So it requires a default gateway, the default router, and the domain name system, DNS. So a simple Google search for setting up network interface card, that NIC Linux, will show you how to enter this information. So you can always check to see if your command worked by issuing the following by issuing the command, that ifconfig minus a. So let me just show you that in the Linux machine, let me just check it out. This that okay. So in the Linux machine, if you make this on Kali Linux, let us check it out whether it works or not. Yeah. So let me go through it. Uh, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So in the Kali Linux, if you see here the machine, we can simply type that ifconfig, and the switch is minus a. So it will give you the details, that what is the Ethernet configuration. What is the Ethernet configuration is there, that will be given here. So you can see, by issuing that command, you find uh, okay. Yeah. Let me just share this screen with you. Okay. So now, by issuing this ifconfig command, okay, uh, so by issuing this command, that ifconfig a, so it will give you the Ethernet details, like what is the the IP packet. I mean, what is the IP address of the system? What is the network mask? What is the broadcast address of this? What is the broadcast address of this? Okay. So this is okay. Let me just share the screen again, and you will be able to get by just giving the if config. You will get the internet address here. Okay, and the network mask addresses also. So it gives whether it is up or not. So the ethernet IP address is up, and the internet IP version 4 IP address is also given, and what are the different packets are used, whereas your loop back is also enabled. So it is running 65,536. The I mean ports are going to be run on this particular machine, right? So let me screen this and share the window of that. Okay. So this is the basic configuration part of you. So then to check it out, we'll issue this configuration command on the terminal. So running this command, that will allow you to see the current settings for your network interface. So that the easiest way to get an address is to use the DHCP. So to assign an IP address through dynamic host configuration protocol, we simply need to give the command that dh client command on the in the terminal. So this dh client will attempt to automatically assign an IP address to our network interface card and configure all required settings including DNS and gateway informations, the default gateway information. So if you are running Kali or the Backtrak Linux from the virtual machines or the VMware player, the virtual machineWare software will act as the dynamic host configuration protocol. I mean the server, right? So when whether you used DHCP or statically assigned an address to your machine should now have an IP address. It should have now an IP address now. So if you are using Kali Linux, your networking should be pre-configured. So the last thing to address is how to turn off Backtrack or Kali Linux. So one of the easiest way is to enter the power off command in the terminal prompt so that your machine can be setting down. So you can also submit the power off command with the reboot command if you would prefer to restart the system rather than setting down it. So before proceed to before proceeding, you should review and practice all the steps discussed thus so far, including the power startup, on or start up your Backtrack or Kali Linux. They log in with the default username and password. Then, if you are using the Backtrack operating system, then start X command should be given in the command prompt, I mean the terminal, to start the Windows graphical user interface and view all the network interfaces on your machine, whether they are up or not. So to turn on the desired network interface, you need to use the command that use the to turn off command. You use the Ethernet zero up command for starting the I mean the assign the IP addresses or enabling your the Ethernet network interface card. Then you need to assign the IP address manually and view the manual assigned IP addresses. And you may assign the IP addresses through your dynamic host configuration protocol. So by just giving the command DH client and view the dynamically assigned addresses, then reboot the machine using the command line interface by just giving the reboot command, or you can power off the machine by using the command line interface. So these are some the basic things you need to practice all these steps which are discussed so far to make familiar with the Kali Linux. Then the next important one is the use and creation of your hacking lab, because penetration testing, if you are unknowingly, if you do any practice with any other machines, then that will leads to the legal issues. So to use and creation of your hacking labs, every ethical hacker must have a place to practice and explore the pen tester. So, this is most often accomplished through the creation of a personal hacking lab. You can create your personal hacking lab. So, a hacking lab is a sandboxed environment where your traffic and attacks have no chance of escaping or reaching unauthorized and unintended targets. So, in this environment, you are free to explore all the various tools so far which we have discussed and the techniques without fear that some traffic or attack will escape your network. So, at a minimum, the lab is set up to contain at least two machines, one attacker and one victim. So, in other configuration, uh, uh, in other configurations, like several victim machines can be deployed simultaneously to simulate a more realistic networks. So the proper use and setup of a hacking lab is vital, because one of the most effective means to learn something is by doing that thing. You are doing that thing, right? So the single or most crucial point of any hacker lab is the isolation of the network. So you must configure your lab network in such a way it is impossible for traffic to escape or travel outside of the network. So the simplest and the most effective way to create a sandbox or isolated environment is to physically unplug or disconnect your network from the internet. So if you are using physical machines, suppose in your lab, so it is best to rely on hardwired ethernet cables and switch to the router traffic. So it also be sure to double and triple check that all your wireless network interface cards are turned off to establish this lab. So the use of virtual machines provides several key benefits actually. So, what are those? We'll see. The first benefit by creating this, the first benefit is it is easy to set up and create a mini hacking lab on a single machine like on our laptops. So, in most cases, an average machine can run two or three virtual machines simultaneously. So even running on a laptop, it is possible to run two virtual machines at the same time, right? So the added benefit of using a laptop is the fact that your lab is portable from one place to another place, right? So with the cheap cost of external storage today, it is easily possible to pack hundreds of virtual machines on a single external hard drive. So, anytime you are interested in practicing your skills or exploring a new tool, simply open up Kali Linux, Backtrack, or your attack machine and deploy a virtual machine as a target. So, setting up a lab like this gives you the ability to quickly plug and play with various operating systems and configurations. So another benefit of using virtual machine in our pen testing lab is the fact that it is very simple to sandbox your entire system and simply turn off the wireless cards and unplug the cable from the internet. So, as long as you assigned addresses to the network card, like we covered in the previous section, your physical machine and virtual machines will still be able to communicate with each other, and you can be certain that no attack traffic will leave your physical machine. So, in general, penetration testing is a destructive process. It is just a destructive process. So many of the tools and exploits we run can cause damage or take systems offline. So in some cases, it is easier to reinstall the operating system or program rather than attempt to repair it. So this is another area where virtual machine shine. So rather than having to physically reinstall a program like SQL Server or even an entire operating system, so the virtual machine can be quickly reset or restored to its original configuration. So in order to follow along with each of the examples in this course, you will need access to the virtual machines, like, but most of the time we use the Kali Linux only. The Kali or Backtrack virtual machines are used basically. Okay. Yeah, so regardless of whether you choose Backtrack or Kali, these virtual machines will serve as your attacking machine or attacker machine for each exercises in our course. And another one is the Metasploit that you can install on your Linux machine. So Metasploitable is a Linux virtual machine which was created in an intentionally insecure manner. So that Metasploit can be that can be downloaded from the source forge at Metasploitable download for. If you click on this link, you can download this Metasploit. So this Metasploit is it will be serve as one of our targets when we cover the exploitation, where Kali Linux becomes the your attacker, and in that the Metasploit is another virtual machine, that it is our target to do the practice in this lab. And sometimes the Windows operating system virtual machine is also used. So while most of the exercises in this course will run against the Metasploit, but Windows XP will also be used as a target throughout the course. So with its wide deployment base and the past popularity, most people have little trouble getting a valid copy of your Windows XP. So, a default installation of Windows XP makes an excellent target for learning, hacking, and penetration testing tools. Right? So, with this, these are some basic requirements to understand how to create a virtual machine lab. Okay. Thank you.